Okay, let's talk about that split second of hesitation you felt maybe 5 minutes ago. You were scrolling, right? You saw a post. Maybe it was a weird niche hobby, a controversial take, or just a meme that was, let's be honest, way too lowbrow for your usual vibe. You liked it, you laughed, but you didn't hit that heart icon. Why? Because it didn't fit your aesthetic, it didn't match the you that you've carefully curated for the world to see. I'll be real with you, when I realized I was doing this, I felt like a total fraud. But then I realized it's actually much worse than that. You aren't just protecting your reputation, you're servicing a debt. I call it main character debt in 2026. We've been sold this beautiful, shiny lie that our main job on this planet is to find our authentic self. We treat our identities like a high-end personal brand that must never, ever be inconsistent. If you're the minimalist productivity guru on Tuesday, you feel like you can't be the existential mess eating cereal over the sink on Wednesday. It breaks the brand. But here's the kicker. That true self you're so worried about protecting. It's not a discovery. It's a static product. It's a dataset optimized for the attention economy. Every time you self-censor to stay on brand, you're just making yourself easier for an algorithm to categorize, predict, and sell to. Your authenticity has become a digital cage, and you're the one who's been hired to guard the door. We've turned the most complex thing in the universe, the human experience, into a curated profile. And if that sounds exhausting, it's because it is. We're all working as unpaid interns for our own digital shadows. But seriously, what if the very idea of a core self is just the biggest scam of the 21st century? So let's go back, way back. The word authentic actually comes from the Greek authentikos. And here is the part that totally blew my mind. Originally, it had nothing to do with being true to your feelings or finding your inner child. Authentikos referred to a master, an author, or a legal authority. It was about being the boss of your own actions, not the discoverer of some hidden, pre-installed soul. Somewhere along the way, we swapped mastery for discovery. We started acting like our identity is a treasure map, where X marks the spot of our true self. But Jean-Paul Sartre, the king of existential cool, would have absolutely hated that. He had this famous line, "Existence precedes essence." It sounds a bit academic, but it's actually a hammer to the face of modern self-help. It means you are born as a blank canvas until the day you die. You don't have a seed inside you that's supposed to grow into a specific tree. You are whatever you choose to do right now, and then again, and then differently tomorrow. I used to use that phrase, "that's just the way I am," as a high-level cope to avoid doing things that scared me. Oh, I'm not a public speaker. That's just not my authentic self. Sartre would call that bad faith. It's a way to avoid the terrifying responsibility of freedom. If you have a fixed identity, you're safe. You're predictable. But if you're a blank canvas that refuses to dry, that's where the real power is. Look, you aren't a software update waiting to be installed. You're the coder. And in 2026, the discovery narrative is just a way to get you to stop coding and start consuming. Because if you're finding yourself, you're looking for something that already exists. But if you're creating yourself, you're a threat to the status quo. Now, let's bring in the heavy hitter, Michel Foucault. If you think the algorithm is just showing you what you like, Foucault is here to ruin your day. He talked a lot about self-surveillance. He argued that modern power doesn't need a police officer standing over your shoulder. It just needs you to believe you're being watched. In 2026, that's literally true. Your biometric ring tracks your stress, your phone tracks your mood, and your personal brand tracks your consistency. Foucault's big warning was that the search for who we are is actually a form of entrapment. Every time you define yourself, "I am an introvert," "I am a seeker," you are building the walls of your own prison. You're giving the system a handle to grab you by. This leads to what I call algorithmic fossilization. The AI platforms we use are trained on our past. They see who you were in 2024, and they spend all of 2026 trying to keep you there. They reward you for being consistent. They punish you for being weird or contradictory. They fossilize your personality into a snapshot of your previous data. Foucault said, "Maybe the target nowadays is not to discover what we are, but to refuse what we are." Think about that. The most revolutionary thing you can do isn't to be yourself, but to actively refuse the labels you've been given, even the ones you gave yourself. Every time you define your true self, you become more manageable. You become a data point that can be sold, predicted, and controlled. The true self is the ultimate surveillance tool because it's the one you willingly use on yourself. It's the pretty wallpaper in your own cage. But the moment you decide to be inconsistent, the moment you decide to be someone the algorithm hasn't met yet, that's when you actually become free. Okay, so how do we actually fight back? How do we break the data consistency mandate in a world that wants us to be a single, searchable niche? First, we need to embrace the incognito day. I want you to try this. Once a week, do something completely out of character. Not because it's your new hobby, but specifically because it is not you. Listen to a genre of music you think is trash. Wear a style that makes you feel like a different person. Use a totally different route to work. The goal isn't to find a new you, it's to poison the algorithm's training data and remind yourself that you are unclassifiable. Second, burn the bio? Seriously, look at your social media or your work profile. Are you introducing yourself by trace like creative, ambitious, or ENFJ? Stop it. Those are nouns. Nouns are static. Nouns are dead. Start introducing yourself by verbs. What are you doing right now? I'm writing this. I'm learning that. I'm questioning this. There's this brilliant psychologist, Patricia Linville, and she has this concept called self-complexity theory. Her research shows that people who see themselves as having many diverse, even contradictory selves are way more resilient. If your whole identity is successful entrepreneur and your business fails, you collapse. But if you are a baker, a cynical poet, a mediocre runner, and a friend all at once, one failure can't touch the core because there is no single core. In 2026, consistency isn't a virtue, it's a vulnerability. The more versions of you there are, the harder you are to break. Be a moving target, be a glitch in the system. We're entering an era of avatar logic. Think about how Gen Alpha treats their digital skins. They don't think their Roblox avatar is their true soul. It's just a tool they use to navigate a specific space. We need to start treating our real-world identities the same way. Your persona at work, your persona with your family, your persona on a first date. These aren't fakes. They are modular tools. You aren't wearing a mask. You're using a toolkit. The most liberated person in 2026 isn't the one who knows themselves inside and out. It's the one who has the courage to be a total stranger to themselves every once in a while. It's the person who the algorithm can no longer predict because they've stopped trying to be authentic and started trying to be alive. So here is the question I want to leave you with. And I'm not saying this to be deep, I want you to genuinely answer it for yourself. If you stopped trying to be authentic, if you stopped worrying about whether your actions matched your past or your brand, who would you have the courage to become tomorrow? Stop trying to find yourself. The person you're looking for doesn't exist yet because you haven't made them. Stop searching. Start refusing. Be inconsistent. Be messy. Be a master of your own actions, not a servant to your own data. The cage is open. All you have to do is stop being you.